Number 1. Twice. While it's hard to deny that Twice is one of the most successful acts of K-pop of all time, and probably the most successful one in JYP entertainment, many people believe it's still hard to ignore how their concept is repetitive, and their new song is always like the recycled version of the previous release. As some pointed out, the fact that Twice always stuck to their bubbly and cute image, but failed to incorporate more unique elements to their songs, made them really bored. According to netizens, Twice always follows the same formula of making cute and bubbly songs for their title tracks. Though it's impossible to deny how this has helped them be where they are today. For example, some iconic tracks like Uwa, Cheer Up, TT, and Knock Knock got really good reactions from the public, and even helped Twice bag home many prestigious titles. It was also this type of formula that made their career go downhill after Blackpink debuted in 2016, and gave rise to the girl crush concept in K-pop. As some noticed, Twice not only made the same upbeat songs, but also the same line distribution and arrangement throughout many years. For example, ever since debut, Nayeon always opened the song. Sana continued with some line to add some earworm viral element to the track. Then Jihyo and Nayeon sang the first chorus, Chaeyoung and Dahyun had the rap right after that, Mina sang the bridge, and Junyoung did the last chorus. While the line arrangement has started to have some changes, like the Signal and Likey eras, it basically still stayed the same for the rest of their following comebacks up until now. Actually, they did try out the mature and empowered theme in I Can't Stop Me and Perfect World, and the reactions to this fresh change were super good. But that ecstasy didn't last long for fans. Because for heavily invested comebacks like Scientist, the go-to concept would still be cute, similar line distribution, and repetitive role arrangement. Scientist's rank was so low that netizens found it impossible to believe how they used to be the digital monster, but now ended up debuting 144 on Genie and 95 on Melon Daily Chart Top 100, lower than Itzy's Loco, Stacey's Stereotype, and even Blackpink's Lovesick Girls, which was already a year ago. Many netizens also believe that it's time for JYP to stop making Twice go everywhere with that bubbly concept. As you can see, there are no Gen 4 groups that even bothered to try on this super cute image ever. However, many thought that it was too late to go back for Twice, and even if they got a change up, their golden era was still very far gone. Number 2. G-Friend. While many people agreed that it was the naive and nature-oriented concept of G-Friend that was the major reason they got so far, despite coming from a relatively small company, they also believed it was the weak point of the group as time passed and the public taste started to change. Ever since the girls' debut, it's almost like the public could foresee the whole promotion, and fans would always know what to expect. Because literally for all their comebacks, except for some most recent ones, as G-Friend obviously started to go for a more mature image after going under the same group with HYBE, they would always be there with the girly images and long dress and cute makeup. Combining that with a trend where Gen 4 groups started to thrive with all sorts of new themes, from high teen girl crush to the AI one like aespa, some believe G-Friend would not have a very bright future ahead of them. Actually, after the group's disbandment, a netizen also brought up this topic, implying how she already saw this prospect way earlier, since music-wise, the group wasn't that impressive. And everything about their setting the standard for girl groups was just a bubble of titles that would very soon burst into thin air. Moreover, even the casual listeners of G-Friend admitted that they had a hard time differentiating the group's title tracks, except for Fingertip, because in that promotion, the group switched up their theme completely. Number 3. Itzy. Though Itzy recently spiced things up a bit with a different theme and logo, the group has been called to be recycling their songs for a very long time, since their debut. As a netizen pointed out, Itzy was trying kinda too hard to make the I love myself, I'm different signature image, that up to this point, things have become repetitive and boring, rather than their trademark. Surprisingly, while Wannabe was a real bop, the complaints from that point also started to pile up quickly. Because on another forum, there was even a long thread dedicated to only whining about how Itzy songs are becoming duller with the same materials, line distribution, vocal arrangement, and especially the same concept. This person believed while Dalla Dalla was good and Icy was tolerable, she couldn't even swallow Wannabe, as she was so fed up with the same image and the music that sounded like nothing but noise. This comeback also gave her the feeling as if JYP was desperately trying to create a younger version of 21, instead of something new. From that point on, the public reaction started to turn for the worst. And from Not Shy to Loco, many netizens believed Itzy was losing the title Best Girl Group of Gen 4, just for their mistaken strategy in music. Number 4. Everglow. A bit more unlucky than all groups on the list, Everglow was not only criticized for recycling their music, but also looked down on for the long-time struggle in building their popularity. As many netizens noticed, Everglow has been stuck with the "I don't need you" concept for ages. And oddly, though all the members are equally talented, their agency only chose to push certain faces. And as a result, people had to see the same line distribution sung by the same members again and again. On Reddit, there was even a long post complaining about how Everglow's song appeared to be kinda good in the first place, but ended up sounding dull and empty because of the repetitive nature in not only the concept, but also the lyrics and instrumental. According to the OP, because Everglow used the same formula for their songs, Bon Bon Chocolat, Dun Dun, and Adios all failed to have a proper chorus, a melody that would make listeners hooked and put the song on replay. Besides, songs like No Lie, You Don't Know M, and Salute also bore the OP out with repetitive words. Number 5. Momoland. After the hit Boom Boom, that one step brought the group to the brighter stardom of K-pop, many people started to notice how their music was also becoming more and more repetitive. However, just like being trapped in a dilemma, netizens also realized how Momoland could hardly release anything too different from Boom Boom for the sake of album sales, but could also not grow any further if they continued to stick with the same old music formula. Actually, the public was kinda happy to see Momoland come back with Boom, because making a second song similar to the greatest hit was a safe and common move of many groups to increase sales, grow fandom, and build a signature image. For example, EXID did try out the strategy by releasing Ah Yeah, which was basically a remake of Up and Down with some small changes in the material and melody, and succeeded with a rapidly growing fandom. However, since Momoland overexploited their success with Boom Boom and continuously recycled this track for their later title tracks, the public started to grow out of them in 2019 after Thumbs Up. The boredom became so big that some began to say Momoland's producers must have had a beef with the group. And in 2020, more people even said Momoland's disbandment was only a matter of time, due to the mistaken path in music. So, do you think that these groups could have been way bigger had they opted for an image change every comeback? Or are some people just expecting too much? Comment down below to share your thoughts with us. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to BeBoss TV for more interesting K-pop content. Thank you for watching.